Truzzl actually had a really high buckle score, so even if Truzzl loses here, I think there's still a good chance that if he goes 4-3, that he could still make it into brackets. And here they are off, and we are on the way. This seed is the worst. You heard it here first.
Uncle is never wrong, ever. We know that.
Especially when he tells you he's going to be out for a pack of smokes, never comes back.
So for those of you who have never watched this, we have a quick map check. All 3 crystals, and Tower of Hera is going to be one of our important ones. Those of you staying around from the last tournament, this is a standard randomized sword seed. What that means is we're still going to go through this opening sequence through escape, just like you would through the vanilla game. However, our uncle is going to have just some weapon for us. It probably is not the sword, and in this case, he gifts us with the Cane of Samaria to be able to get through and kill all the enemies we need to through this escape sequence.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have Cane of Samaria just because of the fact that it unlocks a number of useful things. You know, it can be a huge pain to be looking forever to find it, but at the same time, you kind of would like to have other stuff like, you know, bombs, because it gets you access to that one thing. But speaking of that, they already have it, so they're pretty much golden to go on. And Truzzl makes his way into the palace proper.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that can be kind of a weakness for the cane, either of the canes or even the fire rod if you get it. You have limited magic to get through, so you can't really commit to a lot of time to farming up bombs to get through that bombable wall and escape. Luckily for both the runners, they get a bomb relatively quickly, so they're not going to have to commit that much time. It's just a matter of efficiently moving through here. And Cane is not the easiest weapon to kill stuff with.
Yeah, like the amount of damage it does is really low. As you can tell, it takes 3 hits for them to finish off the blue guards, which is that's just regular fighter sword damage, isn't it?
Yeah, the cane and the fireballs that it produces are the same as a fighter sword, so not the best that you want to do, unlike the hammer, which is the equivalent of like a tempered sword damage, even with its wonky hitbox. The real strength is in what you just saw with Truzzl. You can lay a block and just let the guard kind of run into it, and it really helps push things all along a lot faster than you would normally be able to go.
So Truzzl's making his way back down to secure the Princess Zelda from the big what do you call him? Hammer ball guy, ball and chain. I'm not sure the right way for him. Yeah, ball and chain guy, and it's always kind of I know with regular sword strats, you just get in there and you time the sword strikes. I know it might be a little different with Samaria, so I'm not sure the proper way of doing it. Is there a most efficient way of doing it, or is it just, hey, you know, throw 2 pots, or it's whatever up to the runner?
Well, it's up to the runner. Pot strats are generally considered the safest and the easiest to complete because you can consistently do the same thing no matter what weapon you have. We saw both the runners opt to use the cane, and it was a little bit faster than going back and forth. If they hadn't gotten a bomb already, I could see them, sacrificing a second or two in escape to save those magic, because you'd have to save that magic for farming later. But both runners, the Cane of Samaria is actually really efficient from a magic perspective, so they can burn a little bit there to save a couple seconds and then get through the rest of escape, still with enough to go ahead and get that horrible rat that control you a little bit.
Cane of Burna is one of the other options that you can get from the randomized weapons, and that is definitely a mana hog along with flame rod. So in that sense, yes, Cane of Samaria is quite a bit nicer, a lot more lenient in that regards. It's not the fastest, but it's a lot more lenient. Plus, it unlocks Mire, and it unlocks Turtle Rock, a lot of options for later dungeons that you normally wouldn't have. You'd be stuck late, a lot of times later on the siege hunting for the Cane of Samaria, but you already have it.
Absolutely. I know some runners maybe don't necessarily like it. They prefer something like the bow or the hammer, something that gives them more early game options. But the Cane of Samaria is just kind of on equal footing. Now, the hammer, of course, unlocks more areas, but knowing that the Cane of Samaria just locks those 2 late game dungeons and are often the last 2 that you want to try to get done, especially Turtle Rock, knowing that you would be able to get there and that's already 1 item off the checklist is absolutely nice.
Oh yeah, with hammer especially, it locks so much that eventually you'd have to run into it sooner or later. You can't beat the game without the hammer, I think, because it just locks so much behind it. But King of Samaria, it's a lot harder to find that thing.
Absolutely, and I've known plenty of runners that have actually told me, they love it if hammer or the Titansmiths are one of their go mode items, simply because it locks off so much of the world. There's so few places it could actually be, so that makes for a much quicker go mode as you go through.
So Truzzl and Plasma have both not found a bomb yet. You think they're just gonna? And they also don't have a lot of money. Do you think they're gonna, if they don't find any money or bombs, how do you think they're gonna proceed from there? Just how do you think they're gonna try and farm for bombs in that sense?
Well, I think both of them will. The most efficient routing at this point in time, when you don't have a lot of bombs or rupees, Kappa's actually got none, which is really odd going through the escape sequence. You might pick up a couple here. The kind of primary way you want to do this is kind of route up north, do the tree pull, see if the tree is going to give you a stock of rupees or bombs, even in that case, and then make your decision from there. If you still don't have rupees or bombs coming in from the north side of Kakariko, you just start diving, just commit to the double dip. I think you don't want to take any time to farm anything at that point in time. Just commit yourself. You'll definitely get enough rupees eventually through the Kakariko area to eventually buy bombs and just, have to waste a little bit of time. Truzzl actually avoiding the first tree pull and not going to take a look at Lumberjack Ledge. He is going to, I assume, do the tree pull over here outside the Thieves Town and walked right by it. Truzzl, quit making me a liar.
I actually like skipping Lumberjack early, but I like to do the tree pull as well. Plasma actually going up looks like he's going to do Lumberjack and do this check, and Truzzl picking up the bottles, so Sick Kid is on the menu. Let's see if Plasma goes for the tree pull, and it is not bombs.
No, that's the last thing. And here's Truzzle's tree pull, and he'll find equally bad, and the crab is just hearts. So both runners are going to have to commit to kind of just diving in. We'll see if Truzzl tries to route down, maybe hope to get some rupees in the back of the bar, purchase it. That might make it a little bit more efficient, but it could be a gamble that backfires. So we'll see what he decides to do.
So it's dust on Lumberjack, which that can be awful, like just absolutely horrifying, because last time I had dust on Lumberjack, it wound up being there was no mushroom anywhere, and Magic Bat had progression. So that was, you didn't think you needed to do Aghanim, but you had to do Aghanim after you did every single thing else, and I hope this is not the same thing for these runners, just for their sakes, because that is a very frustrating situation to be in.
Well, the nice thing is that both of these runners, I'm sure, are fully aware of what's known as the Magic Bat glitch at this point in time. Once you find the mushroom, if you empty your magic, switch to the cane, hit the cane, and then wait for the magic error to hit you, then switch immediately to the mushroom and use it. It will initiate powder as though it were fake, and then you can bypass that. So I'm sure both of those, well, Plasma right now, knowing about that powder, is definitely going to be on the lookout for that. Truzzl, I hope, will be aware, and Truzzl bailed out with 10 bombs. Plasma, it looks like he's just routing it right down there. He's going to be able to do the Blind's basement a little bit more efficiently.
Truzzl picking up that half magic, it's just going to make it a little harder to do that bug setup that you just mentioned. So it's kind of funny that as soon as you mention it, hey, half magic, yeah, good luck using all that magic you just wanted to waste earlier. But yeah, it's very fortunate they picked the 10 bombs right there. Plasma is saving a couple seconds because of that. So far else, nothing particularly all that interesting. So if there's nothing in Well and nothing in the back of Blind Hut, then goodness, where is the progression?
Well, we got a little bit of time yet. There's still lots of this, early Sphere 1 locations to check. Just rupees, and not even good rupees, like bad rupees. Nothing. Okay, heart container. We're at 6 hearts. We're at a healthy seed, at least.
Definitely a healthy seed. it's either this or not South Shore. I feel it's one of those seeds where Agina is going to have something, or Ice Rod Cave, and oh boy, this could be quite the interesting seed. I just have that gut feeling. But let's see. Let's see what Plasma and Truzzle pick up in the back of blindside.
Well, kind of holding hands here, and they get a big 20. Oh, this is. Oh, this seed it might make me a little bit sick here.
Was Uncle a fortune teller?
This seed is the worst.
This seed is the worst.
You're not wrong. I like to call this a Lacarico. We've just got nothing.
So it's so full of nothing that it is just. I don't even have a good descriptor for it. It's just empty. So Truzzle, it's still there. There's stuff you can find. So let's go take a look at the library. Let's go check out the maze game. We got some options. Nothing pointing towards anywhere though. So it's always kind of frustrating.
Yeah, at this point you're going for density because you have absolutely nowhere. I'm really interested. Truzzle is skipping the maze game, and it's just a big 20 on there. Where? Okay, so we got South Shore, we have Ice Rod Cave, we have Agina, and we have the Eastern area. Can you imagine getting through all of that, dipping Eastern, and still not having much of a weapon?
Oh goodness, I don't want to imagine that because that's just rough. So it's okay. Yeah, he's just making his way down. There's a couple of different plays you can go with the south area. The most common is doing the swamp, doing the dam, I guess, and then going to Mini Moldarm Cave, which is the most dense area. And of course, it's just rupees. Very rupee-rich seed so far. But with Agina being so rich as well, I believe some runners have opted towards doing well and then going straight to Agina, or doing Mini Moldum first, then well, then Agina. Why am I saying well? It's the swamp area.
Well, and with these runners being 3 and 2, the gambles come in. There's more bombs, yay! The gambles come in on doing things that your opponent isn't necessarily doing. I would be very surprised if we see both these runners play it kind of safe and always go for the high density. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Playing for the high density plays all the time. Truzzle is going over here, but pretty soon we got to see a gamble from one of these guys because it's win or go home right now.
That's a nice triple hit on that first sum area, though. Yeah, Mini Moldorm Samaria is not something that I particularly like, but it's something that you gotta do. Otherwise, unless you're really good with bombs in Mini Moldorm Cave, that's the only thing you can do at this point.
Yeah, the rough thing about the randomizer is it doesn't matter if you're good at something or not. There's the Moon Pearl. Sometimes it can still require you to do it anyway.
Now, I know it'd be out of sequence, but I'm kind of feeling like Fake Flipper into, Wishing Waterfall could be a smart play here. What do you think?
It might be. I'm a little bit uncomfortable because the seed has really given us no direction yet. Maybe I would feel better about it if we've at least had something point in a direction, but we've got nothing yet.
We do have Zora money. That is true, but we don't have gloves or flippers, so we couldn't naturally get to Zora. So maybe it's that the fabled Eastern Palace dip at this point, or Agina. But it is looking really sparse either way. And they are making identical moves pretty much at the same time. It's just the green rupees in Ice Rod Cave. This seed, you are the worst.
So far it's the worst, but sometimes they start snowballing, and it looks like Truzzle is actually leaving, and he didn't save and quit here. I imagine he's going to be doing exactly what you said, setting up that fake flipper in order to check things like Hobo and the Waterfall Ferry area. With that Moon Pearl, it does make it a little bit more lucrative. You can set it up a lot easier and get the Pyramid Ferry. Really doubles the value of that particular sequence break.
You know, as you were saying that, oh yeah, the seed is the worst. It's the worst, but it is absolutely true that sometimes when you have all the progression handed to you at the very beginning, those seeds can also be the worst as well, because then you wind up waiting on just one item left. So it really is a change of pace to have this particular seed that Plasma and Truzzl are in, and where they're just searching for anything really at this point. And Plasma's also going for the fake flipper and the power gloves from Hobo. Very interesting.
That is incredibly interesting. Plasma looks like it's going to be making a similar route. My goodness, so no real advantage is going to be had. Oh, Plasma is actually opting to turn around and do the... Yeah, is going to be just going right to Zora, is going to skip that Power Glove upgrade. That's good information to have in terms of our sequence and sequence breaking. One of the lift upgrades, either the first or the second one, is locked behind the flippers. So that will be good knowledge for our runners later.
The $1 million question is, where are the flippers at this point? And why do we need it? Oh boy, it's but there's nothing so far in Wishing Well. Plasma throws it in and gets back. He gets back. Just some magic, which he already has half magic. He probably didn't need it anyway, but still, hey, it's better than nothing. Better than an empty bottle. And the hammer.
Oh, whoa! So hammer is also flippers locked. Doing this, they can't get it though right now.
Yeah, they can't. They'd have to fall down. So flippers, it was like the key to Dark World access this entire time. But where is flippers?
Well, and that's going to mean it's really nice for them doing the sequence break. That means it's probably somewhere relatively close here. Zora gives us a bit of a refund on his scam.
So do they go for Sahasrara, Eastern Palace Dip, or Agina, who is notorious for having something useful if you visit his out-of-the-way cave?
Yeah, I think you go density right now. You go density and hope for the best. I mean, you got some nice intel. You know that both a lift upgrade and the hammer are flippers locked. So as soon as you find the flippers, you kind of close that loop, knowing exactly what's going on.
All right, Plasma and Truzzl just still hand in hand, lockstep, going to the density play. Taking a quick gander at what was it, Sriracha? I can't remember the guy's name. It's what's he got in his closet? He's got a change of clothes in his closet. So
I mean, that's to be expected, I suppose.
Blue is not his color, though. So yeah, let's take a dip in Eastern Palace, and at this point, I'm pretty much fully expecting nothing's in Eastern Palace. Agina had the flippers all along. It's just like, I really wish someone would visit me in my cave. I'm so lonely here.
Well, the thing is, even with the flippers, it does give us Dark World access, because then we would get then the glove and the hammer, and with the Moon Pearl, that would be our progression. We'll see what we end up finding here in Eastern, though. I mean, it's either here in Eastern or in Agina, and both runners making identical plays at this point in time.
So, when was the last time you had a seed that was... Hey, speaking of flippers, first chest and Truzzl. Do you keep going on? Do you... he's going to keep going on, see what else is there. I don't blame him for it.
Yeah, I think
it'd be super tempting to just, oh man, go for Dark World access immediately.
I mean, I might, knowing what I know, that would be a real tempting play to go. I mean, there could still be progression, there could still be something here, so you go ahead and check. I get it, but man, when you're 3-2, and you got to make a gamble, that's a tempting and easy gamble to make right there.
Especially. Like, Plasma is not going to feel that because he doesn't know where... Yeah, he only knows where hammer is. He doesn't know where the lift upgrade is, so he doesn't have Dark World access from it. The hammer doesn't really unlock anything in Light World for him. But Truzzl says, no, I'm just gonna stick it out, gonna see what I can find in here. And so far, it's just a big key, and we'll see what's in this next chest. That's the second item so far.
Looks like Plasma is setting up a bit of a death warp, is just taking some hits to the face. Problem is, you're in the very first dungeon in the palace, or dungeon in the game, and you have blue mail, so taking hits to the face doesn't do a ton of damage to you right now.
Yeah, plus there's not really anything around that you want to be getting. You know, it'd be... Save quit will get you to Link's house or Sanctuary, both where you would want to go to get wherever you wanted to go. The Eastern Palace is kind of out of the way, so death warping here is not going to accomplish much for him. And I gotta say, it's a good thing they got the blue mail, because doing the dark room here without sword can be a bit of a pain in the butt. Just because you're going to be running into a bunch of stuff. But Truzzl makes it out just fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive. That dark room becomes a lot more complicated when you can't see anything. You're going almost on pure muscle memory there. So well done. Plasma thought about saving and quitting and then left, and Truzzl opened the last treasure chest, finding just the compass. So the last item in Eastern Palace is going to be on the Armos Knights. And I imagine we're going to have Truzzl going almost immediately up to get that hammer.
Oh, I think that would be the right play, but he might be going to Agina. So I am. Oh no, is he taking out that warp? Where does that warp lead to? That water warp that he's looking at right now?
I will find out.
Yeah, that warp is so underused. I just do not remember.
Oh, up here, right next to the witch. Which he can refill bottles if he so needs to while he's right here. I don't know if I'd do it right now, but okay.
That's true. He can refill here, but then again, he also only has 200 rupees. You're still going to need at least around 200 rupees to do all the Dark World stuff you want to. So he made the smarter play of not bothering with it. Meanwhile, Plasma, are you going to check Hobo? You know, for your own sake, please check Hobo.
Yeah, okay, looks like making the Hobo play. Whew.
Dodging a bullet there. Truzzl making his way up, and that's just a lockstep. From here, because they don't have a weapon, I would be tempted to say that my first entry into the Dark World would be near Hype Cave, but they have Half Magic and King of Samaria, so it's entirely possible to do Thieves Town with those relatively, well, maybe not relatively easy, but not too difficult. So what would you do with that? I would kind of go for Hype Cave just because, you know, if you get a sword, then that makes everything so much easier.
Yeah, I think I'm making the Hype Cave play immediately after picking up this hammer. It seems to be pretty logical. You can kind of make that south route. I mean, you don't have the mirrors, so K45 is out of the way, but you can go ahead and do that. Get Stumpy and also do the digging game while you're there. And then if you happen to pick up the mirror or the Titan Smiths, just keep on going right on up north into the Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, and the Titan Smiths will allow you to start doing blacksmith if you find it in Hype Cave or things like that. So I definitely think that would be the right move to do. And Truzzl agrees as he makes his way into the Dark World in 23 minutes and 42 seconds in.
All right, chat. Get your guesses in. What kind of Hype Cave are we going to have? Is it going to be hype, like its namesake, or is it going to be a dud, like Kakariko Village? Because all right, just 20 rupees. Hey, a sword.
Very nice.
All right, and that's it.
Interesting. He immediately saves, quits outs, and I would assume he goes up to Kakariko that way, not going the south shore, the south route first. Which I don't blame him. I think that's a good play. Like they're both equally valid plays, I think.
Yeah,
Truzzl finally does a map check now.
He's like, oh yeah, I should do that.
I kind of feel like until you find progression, there's no point in even doing a map check. But then once you find a map progression, you're like, okay, where does the game want me to go with this? Where should I be checking?
We still don't know where it wants you to go. I mean, Thieves Town is the only thing that's clearable right now. Of all the dungeons, Thieves Town, that's it.
You can also get to Palace of Darkness, and as long as it's not bow locked, do quite a bit in there too.
I mean, complete. Start to finish.
Oh yeah, complete start to finish. Then again, a lot of these seeds in V29 are of the sort where it expects you to dip many times. It expects you to dip many times. So, and Thieves Town is a crystal. Swamp is green. Ice and Skullwoods are pendants, and Mire is the other red crystal.
Okay, so just for clarification here, the only two dungeons that require logically to have the flippers are pendants, but we needed the flippers anyway for a progression into the Dark World. This seed is mean.
I'll say that sounds par for the course. You know, if you need something, it'll. If you need the item to complete a dungeon, it'll be a pendant, and they'll give it to you really early. You know, they're gonna make you work for it. No, Plasma's making the south route, but only get a piece of heart. But the hook shot, the chetscape for Truzzl, oh man, that's gonna make Thieves Town a little bit nicer, a little bit speedier too.
Yeah, you can do kind of a lot of interesting things. Make your routing much easier in this first part of Thieves Town, hooking around. It does make the Hellway also quite a bit nicer if you know the tricks there. No boots, so we can't really dash through there. Hooking is going to be your best way through.
Yeah, it's going to make Truzzl feel a lot more confident taking on Thieves Town. But with the hook shot, that also brings into logic East Side Death Mountain, which might be the next area they have to go to after Thieves Town, in case Thieves Town doesn't have anything in it, of course.
Well, logically, it's still out because we need either the lamp or the flute. Now, both of these runners, we've seen them do a dark room once. I'm sure they're fully capable of doing another dark room. It's just worth noting that we don't have logical access. You might want to hold off at least for a second.
Well, true. Then again, hey, Agina probably has lamp or something. I'm just gonna blame Agina for any item that we're missing here. I think it's always the smart play to do.
What are we missing? Agina hasn't. He's just got a stockpile there.
He just really wants people to visit him in his cave. Just come on, I got everything. Just visit me, hero, please. All right, so that's we found the boomerang, the red boomerang, and I think another just some more hearts in Thieves Town so far. But it's kind of nice he has the hammer, so he can just full clear it all in one go. I wonder if Plasma's going to make the couple. What's it called? Where you just do a quick check of Skullwoods first, that first area.
Yeah, just kind of dip your pinky toe into Skullwoods, see, hey, how's it going? This was Skullwoods always seemed to have value in version 26 back in the fall tournament, where it just became part of the standard route. Hey, dip in, see what you find, and then leave. It's a relatively quick check, and a lot of runners still include it in part of their routing, even though Skullwoods has not been quite as valuable as it was then. Truzzl does find our Master Sword deep in Thieves Town, though, so that's a nice pickup.
Very nice. He's gonna feel. Yeah, you gotta feel pretty nice after that, because no longer do you have to, whack these enemies a billion times just to get anywhere. You just hit them a couple times. But Plasma finds the flute in Skullwoods, so they're both making really good plays here. So, goodness.
Yeah, that's actually a really nice pickup by Plasma. That's our progression up to Death Mountain, where we have just an absolute treasure trove of progression possibilities, 8 treasures, and we can also go ahead and go up to Tower of Hera, which has our first 5-6 crystal we can complete. It's just big all around. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Plasma just immediately go do that.
That is assuming we don't need a light source for Tower of Hera, which does wind up becoming, does wind up being the case some almost like half the time, I swear, playing this game. So there's still hope that maybe we'll find a lantern, maybe we'll find the fire rod. But Truzzl making his way to the big chest, and let's see what it is, and he'll be finishing up Thieves' Town pretty quickly. Nothing but a compass. Plasma's going to find his hook shot relatively quickly, though, because he's down in Town of Outcasts.
Oh, that's right. And Mirror.
Oh,
What?
gosh.
Truzzl hasn't picked that up yet. So Village of Outcast has Sword of Evil's Bane in Thieves' Town. It has Hookshot and the Mirror. Not to mention Plasma did end up picking up that flute, so we'll be able to immediately activate it if he so desires, and that might be worthwhile.
So you know how Kakariko basically had nothing? Well, the inverse of Kakariko, the Town of Outcasts, definitely has a bunch of something. So definitely keeping true to its roots, Town of Outcasts delivering here. Now, where does Plasma go with all of this information, all this items? Does he even dip into Thieves' Town at this rate, or does it just go straight to Death Mountain? Just to make a short word of blind, picks up a nice full heart, and his first crystal 31 minutes in.
You know, it's a crystal. I think you're already here. You're not going to be going any faster than the equipment that you have right now. I say you go ahead and clear it, and then immediately turn around, Mirror, and activate that flute, and we'll have kind of a nice advantage over Truzzl, even though I would say, just looking at them, Truzzl might have a slight advantage in terms of execution, but that trip up to Skull Woods for the flute, I don't know when Truzzl will head up there next.
I would imagine he doesn't, because he did not do the south route that Plasma did. So his first inclination, I believe, would be to go south instead of taking the north route. Then again, that said, he does have the mirror, so maybe the graveyard cliff edge is going to look very tempting towards him. But it looks like he's heading towards the south route, and the flute will remain out of his grasp for just a little bit more.
And it's entirely possible that everything that we're looking for could be right up there on Death Mountain, since that's in logic now. So it will be interesting to see where Truzzl ends up going. He has a couple different options. We know Skullwoods has what he's looking for. He may opt to go around, check the pyramid location that's open, check Catfish. Also, there's a pod dip that's a possibility. If you're bow locked, you'll know it pretty quickly. But other than that, I guess with the mirror, he'll be able to do K45 and the graveyard ledge relatively easy. But those are kind of spread out one-off locations.
Yeah, that's true. So that's why he's going for the south play, because he can do all the checks, and there's nothing that really gets orphaned except for the shovel location. Whereas he would need, if he did the north play, he would be kind of hoping for maybe a cape, but more importantly, the Pegasus boots to do the dash, to do the King's Grave and the Bonk Rocks. So it's, I kind of wish that Plasma did more than that those first couple of rooms, because a number of times I've found that the room immediately past where you move in Skullwoods, where you move the statue around, that always seems to have value in it too, and they already have the King of Samaria, so it's pretty easy to check that too.
Yeah, it is. So I probably would have done that particular check, especially since you're still only missing one item. It's a pendant dungeon, so you don't have to full commit yourself to going ahead and doing something you can't do yet without the fire rod. But might as well check it out. I mean, it's a relatively quick check for you.
It looks like Truzzl is just going to go right up to Death Mountain anyway. He doesn't have the flute, but it's not going to stop him. So I believe that is a smart play, even though it's logic breaking just a little bit. It's still definitely worthwhile.
It's worthwhile. I would say the worst case scenario for Truzzl is if he finds the Titan Smiths up here. In part because that could mean that our next kind of breadcrumb in the progression could be down in the Misery Mire area, where you require the mitts and the flute in order to go. And the more progression Truzzl finds, the further he's going to be pulled away from that Skull Woods location that has absolutely a required item in the flute.
I don't think Tightwoods will actually unlock much for him other than East, like Death Mountain Dark World, which he's already there. He can do. It just would be a head scratcher. Well, now what do I do with this? And actually, it would probably lead him to Ice Palace, which he couldn't do either way because he still doesn't have a Fire Rod or Bombos. So
yeah, I
he,
mean,
he scratches his head trying to figure out what to do.
I think you can kind of see in Truzzl's routing, he's trying to probably avoid those pendant dungeons if at all possible. It's just a matter of when does he decide to go down and dip that for the flute. Misery Mire is required, so he's eventually going to have to. Plasma could gain quite a bit in this routing here. Truzzl finding money, and we're at 35 minutes in. We're at our 11th heart already. What's this?
It's called a Healthy Seed, and they are healthy indeed. And Truzzle's going to see what's in these chests 5 over here. Plasma finishing up his blind fight relatively quickly with relative ease as well. Nothing really that exciting so far though. So, but there's Bombos, so yeah, it's kind of like a.
There's your Ice Palace access. Dun dun dun. Well, I mean,
if you had Titans.
Trying to get this very precise. I mean, he's right there on the edge pixel. He nailed it.
Thankfully, that corner is really sticky. It tries to drag you on. It's very nice and forgiving in that sense. So even though he was most of his pixel, Mrs. Sprite was off, he still managed to. And there's a Fire Rod. Ooh, very interesting.
That's a nice little bit of knowledge. So there's been a lot of things in the overworld. Let's think about this. We've had gloves, hammer, hook shot, flippers were in Eastern, a sword was in a dungeon, but everything else has been in overworld, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of a rarity in this seed, but we're gonna quickly see if Truzzl is needing a light source to go any further in Tower of Hera, but yeah, it's very rare. Oh man, where does Truzzl go from here?
Fire locked. Ouch. I think you go do Silver's on Spectacle Rock, so he's going to be checking the Spectacle Rock area, and since he has the mirror, go ahead and pick them up.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, just check Spectacle Rock, get Silver's, and then kind of figure out, well, where do I go? I kind of feel like you'd either have to go to Eastern Palace or Palace of Darkness, or go check Skull with it. But there's Titan's Bits, so Ice Palace is on the menu.
Ice Palace is on the menu, and I think while he's up here in Death Mountain, he's going to continue to clear out Death Mountain, and I imagine PlasmaKappa will as well. Once Plasma's going to start at this point. Interestingly, Plasma will be able to start here, might dip Tower of Hera, know that it's a fire source, be able to go right over. Oh, here's the Fire Rod. I can go ahead and get it already.
It's actually going to work out in Plasma's favor because he gets the Titan's Bits first and has a mirror, so he can more efficiently clear out the eastern side. Meanwhile, Truzzl, where does he go from here? Oh wait, we already said he's going to go to Eastern and do the Dark World side of things. Oh, and Plasma's setting up for the bomb jump, but he sadly falls in.
Yeah, that bomb jump is one of the most difficult in the game, just because you have to get one square further, really, than any other bomb jump in the game, and the only way that's possible is if you kind of skip along the wall. It's a weird physics thing in this particular game when you're doing one of those hops against a wall. No other place in the game you can really do that or use it effectively.
Now that he has Bombos, he has Samaria. If Turtle Rock is requires bottomless to open, then we could be looking at a very early Turtle Rock dip.
I mean,
Can't
if you're
clear it without
Truzzl,
Ice Rod.
if you're Truzzle, I mean, you might make that gamble. You might say, "Hey, it's here."
It's here, it's in Logic, and it's not Ice Palace. So
I mean,
I would do it.
Yeah, he can't do Misery Mire. I mean, he could go and do Tower of Hera again. Still can't do Eastern Palace. He can't do Desert. He can't do Pod. Yeah, I mean, that might be his only progression dungeon that he could possibly do. Meanwhile, Plasma, it's Quake, so he can't do Turtle Rock. Plasma will have access to both Desert Palace and Misery Mire because of that flute access.
There's land for Truzzle, so whatever he might have been worrying about. Actually, if he thinks about it, it should tell him that the game expected him to get flute to get up here because he's got so much progression up here that the flute has to have been somewhere a little earlier. So if he keeps that in mind, it should give him some valuable intel just knowing that the lantern was here in Hookshot Cave.
Well, yeah, and anywhere up on Death Mountain. You know, if it's on Death Mountain, anywhere, Light World, Death World, Tower of Hera, Turtle Rock, anywhere, your access to anything in the Death Mountain area is locked behind either the lamp or the flute. So picking up the lamp there should absolutely tell him the flute is somewhere in Logic, and he skipped it somewhere. He might make a dip back and get it.
Oh, definitely. That should honestly just tell him, hey, you need to go back to Skullwoods, buddy. But he is going to double check in Tower of Hera.
I mean, you went it there with no fire sources and came back with both of them.
Should be a strong hit. Alright, so Turtle Rock was Quake, and so what we're looking at right now is we need bow, we need Quake, Desert maybe needs boots.
Yeah, and that's it.
And Ice Rod, and that's it.
We went from a horrible seed where we got nothing to having just about everything.
Yeah, they got a lot of options opening up, and so I would expect their routes to diverge pretty quickly, especially because Plasma has the flute and Truzzle doesn't. So if you were Plasma, where would you go after you finish Death Mountain?
I mean, after the Tower of Hera check, presuming nothing else is in Tower of Hera, I immediately go over to the Mire Desert Palace area because you can check Mire, see what kind of medallion you are looking for. If it ends up being required, you can, or if you have it, you might dip it and clear it then. Might put that off, but you can also do Desert, check to see if it's boots locked, get some intel on that as well. Plus you have the Mire Shed and Checkerboard access at that point, so that's 3 items minimum, plus dipping and getting intel on both Mire and Desert. I think that'd be the play I would make.
With in regards to Hera, I kind of feel like if you go in there and you have all these options available to you, and then you see, oh, you have to do the tile room to get anywhere, or rather the coffee break room, as some people call it, I'd rather be tempted to just leave. Just like, no, I know I have a lot more progression in, crystal dungeons or what could be crystal, to then spend a lot of time potentially in this pendant dungeon here.
But Tower of Hera is a crystal dungeon.
Oh, it is. Huh, I'm completely wrong then, and it's also a red crystal. So yeah, in that case, yeah, you're absolutely right. That is definitely the smart thing to do.
I mean, I'm great talking about the game. I'm not very good at playing it, but I'm great at talking about it.
I'm not even sure if I'm great at talking about it at this point. Oh, Truzzle taking a fall. It's kind of a shame. Moldorm can be nice. He can be mean. It just depends on the day. And so far, this seed has been not a good day.
I mean, let's face it, Moldorm is always mean. Oh no, and forced Truzzle into a poke, so he's in super speed mode. And whoo, Truzzle holding tough there.
Very nice. Well, that's a second crystal for Truzzle, and he gets more health.
Because when you have red mail and are already at 13 hearts at 45 minutes in, you need more health.
Alright. Truzzle, buddy. What you gonna do? Where are you gonna go?
Well, he hasn't done Spiral Cave yet, which is a play. I believe Spike Cave is technically out of logic right now, if you look at it, because we do not have an invincibility item. But I don't know. I'm still kind of rusty on the bottle logic with that. Is it invincibility item plus two bottles, or how does that work? Do you know?
That I was never that clear on myself. All I know is they have 13 hearts, but I don't think either of them has a red or blue potion. So it'd be really, it'd be down to the wire because spikes take 1 heart each time, regardless of what mail you're wearing. And it's more health. So yeah, if I was Truzzle, I'd just, vamoose out of there and then try to figure out, okay, where did I miss that flute?
It's got to be wondering. I mean, we know the answer, and I think Truzzle might be. I don't know what Truzzle's thinking. Might be going over to Pyramid because
Or
you
he's
can
going to be doing Swamp. There's a lot of stuff available in Swamp at this time, and he has everything he needs to complete it.
Plasma taking a fall to Moldorm, so Moldorm feasting on his victims today.
Moldorm. Showing off why people, especially when they're learning the game, really, really don't like this guy. Because boy, it's when you're not used to how he moves, it's just even when you're used to how he moves, it is just a huge chore to play against that guy.
And then you think you learn how he moves, and then you're just okay. He's gonna zig, and then he zags, and he hits you with his face, and he knocks you off. And you're like, Moldorm, I thought we had an agreement. You're supposed to zig there.
Moldorm just kind of wiggles at you because he's a worm. And there's a shovel on Pyramid.
Hey, Teef.
What's that?
I got a question for you.
Oh, what's that?
Do you want to do a fetch quest?
No, I do not. But hey, the name of the game is Fetch Quests all day, unless the game, the name of the game is Dip into Dungeons all day. It really just depends on the day. He's making the play towards Catfish. It'd be a kick in the pants if Catfish had Mushroom. So here you wanted to find some intel. Pyramid gives you a fetch quest, and then Catfish gives you another fetch quest.
I will sing the entire song if this is another fetch quest. I swear to God, I will sing the whole song that's written.
I will listen respectfully as you sing the entire song and not interrupt you. That's the amount of my support.
It's okay. Just 50 rupees.
Okay, you're off the hook.
Okay, so Truzzle going to be turning in this shovel immediately. Probably thinking it's vanilla flute. We know better, but I wonder what he's going to find.
Plasma. Finishing up his Death Mountain checks. Let's see where he goes from here. Fluting away. floating away to Meyer, maybe?
I would like the Meyer play. Try to avoid Swamp Palace for now, because if you can go mode it would be great. Yeah, Plasma's going to Meyer. And it's
the mushroom.
Okay. So I gotta do it.
Alright.
Do you want to do a fetch quest? Or maybe do a T-Rock dive? You know it could be anywhere. Pull out your hair. It's going to be fine. It could be in vanilla, but probably not. I wish you would just decide. Do you want to do a fetch quest? Doesn't have to be a fetch quest. Okay,
No.
bye.
Alright, I think we're done with the fetch. Almost done with the fetch quest. Almost.
Almost.
So, okay. Plaza's doing all of his checks. I actually wasn't paying attention to what was on Meyer, but we just got bombs, got nothing special so far. He's floating out. I wonder if that's to go back to Meyer quicker. No. It's to go do...
To get potions.
Yeah,
because he's looking at it. He's looking at it. He's like, I might be doing just a lot of nothing right now.
I'm still hoping for their sake that it's not something on the magic bat. And actually, since Truzzl turned it in, that may be something that works against him, because he never checked Lumberjack Cave, and so he doesn't know dust is on. Yeah, he doesn't know dust is there, and then he turned in the mushroom. So here's hoping that that the magic bat, the magic dust cave, didn't have anything really necessary. And it's bombos from Myers, so Plasma is going to walk right on in.
Yeah, and here's the worst part, man. I mean, if Truzzl ends up hitting a barrier and eventually checks that lumberjack ledge and goes and says, uh-oh, I think as soon as he finds the boots, he'll make that check, because then it becomes in logic with what he has right now.
Yeah, I feel really bad, because that's what Truzzl did. His play was exactly the play I would do. So it's like, oh, this situation would be really bad for me too. Oh.
But he's making the swamp play, which is 6 items plus the 7th one in once you turn in the green pendant. So he's going for the high density locations. We'll see. Plasma hasn't found anything so far in Misery Mire, but just kind of getting our first toe in the water here.
And it's just going to be a nice wild game of, well, who finds something next. But Plasma, I think, making definitely the smart plays with with clearing all the crystals he can. If he doesn't find anything in Mire, though, where does he go next, though? Probably Desert. And did he ever check to see if Desert was boot blocked?
No, he hasn't checked that yet. Although, I mean, I would like to see it a relatively quick check after this Mire. You might make, go ahead and check Mire, because there's 2 items here, and if you end up needing the boots, might as well find them here, because you don't need them to get in.
Definitely true. Yeah, so he'll, I guess, do a desert check, and then Palace of Darkness? Man, I don't know where he'd go from here if he doesn't find anything in Mire.
I feel like a pod check would be inevitable, although he could also make the same play that Truzzl's making right now in the swamp.
That's certainly true. 6 items, 7 total if you count the green pendant. It's hard to say no to that. Versus spending a lot of time and going into pod and then realizing, oh, okay, it's bow locked and there's definitely no bow here. There's a big key for Plasma, so I think he has 1 item so far. So I believe he's going to keep perhaps keep looking and try to find where that second item is.
Yeah, and we have 2 treasure chests over here, the big key treasure chest, and then the small one that's right next door. That's just kind of a pain to get to sometimes. So, oh, and the snipe.
Truzzl doing that full clear, going for all the chests, going to the left side first.
Yeah, when you're looking for that progression, you're just hoping. So Plasma finds the map. So there's 2 locations left: the vanilla big key location and on Vitreous itself. And Plasma looks to be going back to Vitreous.
You know, with Maya and all the anti-fairies and all the other stuff there, I would be so glad if I had Dust at this time, and I think Plasma would be too. But he made the smart play of getting Blue Potion before he came here. But he also knows that Dust is Aghanim 1 required. So anything from Truzzle's side so far?
A couple pieces of heart, because of course what the seed needs is more health.
Hey, looks like stun prize is fairy. We know that now.
That's actually amazing.
That's very nice. Plasma should give that a shot. He definitely needs to top up. Alright, so nothing left side, so let's see what Truzzle finds later on. Plasma only has Master Sword, no arrows, so Vitreous himself is going to be a bit of a tough fight for him. No method of invincibility either, so I kind of hope that he goes for bomb strats on Vitreous. But what do you think? What's the most effective play here?
I'm feeling bomb strats right now. You don't have the bow. Bomb strats and then into spin strats. I think that's going to be your best bet right now.
Yeah, they have 19 bombs as well. There's not a lot more bomb usage that you need to do, and he is definitely going for it. Mad Bomber style. And a lot of rupees on Truzzle's side. I think he picked up the big key too, which is why he's going back to open that thing up.
And get stuck in this horrible stairwell that glitches out when you try to go up it the first time. Oh, hate it. Truzzle used Plasma used 10 bombs and then is going for spin strats for the rest of it. Wanting to save a few bombs just so you don't have to risk having to pick up bombs at any point in time, which is smart. We've seen a lot of runners just empty themselves out and then they never have bombs when they need them for the rest of the run.
Yeah, definitely don't blame him for doing that. So now it can be now this is more I guess tense times is trying to actually deal with the big eye, which that thing moves really quickly, so you're not gonna have time to do all of the, to spin, charge up your spin all the way all the time. And he bounces up, so it's just an awkward fight if you don't have bow.
And even with red mail, he'll do 2 full hearts of damage, so he's nasty. But Plasma does get him down.
Very nice, and he gets a small key for his effort.
So the only thing Truzzle has found is that blue cane, the best cane in the world, Cane of Burna, which technically, I guess, would unlock Spike Cave.
Yeah, and that's about it. But hey, he also has the green pennant coming up, so I think that counts. Plasma going back in, probably to look for that last chest.
Yeah, the one way in the back. Took a gamble that Vitreous would have the last item. Unfortunately, that gamble did not pay off like he wanted it to.
Is it the the scene at the long the chest at the long cutscene? That one?
Yep, that one.
Yeah, I can understand why you want to do that. Why you want to put it off. Truzzl taking his green pendant. So Truzzl, they're both at 3 dungeons. It's just Plasma has a crystal. Truzzl has a lot more chests done though.
Yeah, and I imagine Truzzle's going to immediately go over to the pod area, turn in his green pendant, and see what pod has for us. We'll know pretty quickly if it's locked though.
Yeah, I believe that's what he's doing. Good call. And we're gonna have a nice long cutscene for Plasma.
Go refill your beverages. We got some time.
I'll see you in like 5 minutes. See ya.
I mean, we don't have that long.
What? All right. Well, let's talk about wildlife. Ain't wildlife nice? Oh, it's just a bomb upgrade. Okay, yeah. I think Plasma's a little unhappy with that, so gives it quick angry slashes than Vamoos's.
Don't blame Plasma. Interesting going right to desert from this way. And, well, I mean, Tempered Sword, that's nice.
Tempered Sword is really nice, actually.
Yeah, I mean, but not what he was looking for, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll take it. But, yeah, I'm not even sure if... I'm not sure if I would do Swamp just to get a Tempered Sword. Like if I somehow knew that it was in Green Pendant, I'm not sure if I'd even do Swamp. But it definitely does speed up everything else.
So Plasma, making an interesting play here, was able to do both the 5 and the 6 crystals. So we're going to have ourselves a Pyramid Fairy check here.
Makes sense. I would definitely do it if I was in his shoes. And then while he's at the pyramid, he also gets to do a check there. He hasn't yet to go check the pyramid, so he's going to see the shovel and be like, oh, hey, fetch quest, let's do it. And then find it's a mushroom and then feel like he has to go do it. But thankfully for him, he has the flute, so turning the mushroom isn't going to be that big of an annoyance. It's just whether or not he remembers about the dust.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited about, knowing that PlasmaKappa checked that and says, oh, if this is a gigantic fetch quest chain for me.
Speaking of giant fetch quests, I kind of feel like the whole Bomb Fairy is a huge fetch quest at this point. Just walk for a long way just for 2 chests, and sometimes you hope it's something good, but I feel like it never is.
It never is until it is, and then it's something good.
And then it's like the one item you've been waiting on this entire time. But not this time. So yeah, I guess without Flute, Palace of Darkness would be in logic. It's just, it hasn't been in anything he's seen so far, so he's just going to keep on doing these checks, probably blind, or not blind, but because he has a lantern, but I'm just going to stop talking right now, I think.
Well, Julison in chat actually made a really good point. I can completely foresee Truzzl avoiding Skull Woods, where we know the flute is, because he found that fire rod up on Death Mountain as well. So he may be reading the logic and it can't be in Skull Woods because Skull Woods requires the fire rod. The fire rod was up on Death Mountain, and I know my access to Death Mountain is the flute. So they could be pulling them, except for those few chests in the front, which totally are in logic without it. So this is an instance where Skull Woods was a required double. I mean, you don't have to clear it, but it would have been a required to clear it.
Yeah, it would have been a required dip. And it's like he's checked almost every non lantern locked bow, and he hasn't really found anything. He hasn't found the flute, so it's got to be in the back of his mind that, okay, Palace of Darkness wasn't where the flute was. Where is it? It's a
Well,
very
looks
nice,
like-
very quick hammer jump.
Absolutely. Plasma looks like is setting up to go into Palace of Darkness as well. Unfortunately, Truzzle's kind of come up empty up to this point in time.
You know, I didn't notice, but did Plasma check Desert?
Plasma did not check Desert. That
Plasma,
could be
please.
it. That's like one of the main reasons you do that is so you can do Desert and Mire together.
Actually, did he even check the Desert Ledge? I can't remember if that had anything.
So not also forget, no one's checked that all-powerful Agena location.
I want to say someone did, but I might be just misremembering this. But yeah, so far everything's basically been overworld locations except for the flutes. Yeah, I think. Okay, so he's going to Spike Cave, and that's interesting. But hopefully, there's something in there.
He's trying to follow the breadcrumbs that the sea's been giving him, and I really hope this is actually a dead end for Truzzle, so that he gets his penguin butt over to Skull Woods eventually.
Yeah, that's true. Otherwise, he may think, oh, I should go do Ice Palace next. Yep, it's a dead end, so where does he decide to go with there? And I'm wondering what Plasma's going to do after he finds, he finds out that House of Darkness has nothing.
I'm still shaking my head that no one's checked Desert. Ice could very well be a thing as well, and it's worth noting that depending on Boot's logic for Desert, I mean, you can clear Desert, and we can clear Ice Palace completely, and we can clear Skull Woods completely. So, I hate bringing this up because I think it's overhyped, but Pedestal?
It looks like he's making the Aghanim play, which is Sphere 1 that I don't think he's checked, so we'll finally see what the lonely old man has in his cave. The guy just wants visitors. I'm dying of curiosity to see what is in that what's on that desert ledge, however. And it's bombed. Alright. Truzzle, what is your decision? Where do you go from here?
Sanctuary, it's close. It's close.
It looks like he might be going it. He might be going for Skull Woods.
Oh, if he checks... Oh, he could be checking the Lumberjack ledge and going, oh my god, it's there.
No, he's going straight forward this time. So it's just whether or not he does like a quick northern check of the graveyard ledge, or actually takes a dip into Skull Woods.
Well, he can also do the Jeremiah loop right now. He can turn in Jeremiah. He can grab the purple chest, bring it over to Gary. But Truzzle, oh, he's making a good move right now.
Alright, good on him. And that'll probably lead him straight to Mire, and completing Mire, and then realizing there's really not much in Mire either. He's gonna be like, okay, now what?
Well, and I think that's something worth noting, that if Plasma would have found further progression in Mire, this could have been over a while ago. But with nothing being in Mire and nothing really being locked behind the flute that Truzzle hasn't already sequence broken, he's behind not having Mire done because he did Swamp Palace as well. But otherwise, this could have been a lot worse for Truzzle than it currently is.
Oh yeah, the race is definitely a lot closer than it could have been, and I have a feeling Truzzle's going to be completing most of Skullwoods, maybe even taking a look at Pestle while he's here. With the way the seed's shaped out to be, I would probably make that play myself, just to actually. What I was saying, he doesn't have the book, he can't do that, so you can't do that. He's just going to dip right out, activate the flute, and then go to Mire. It looks like.
Yeah, he's skipping the same locations that Plasma did. Were there? No, there weren't 2 items that they already got, right? It was just the one. It was just the flute.
Yeah, it was just the flute. And they just ignored the other item.
For shame. Now I want the bow to be there because I want you guys to learn a lesson.
Yeah, there's a lot that the seed likes to do to, or rather, this version likes to do to be like, no, check the entirety of the place. It will bite you in the butt if you don't. Plasma looks like he's checking Cape, Bumper Cave. Ice Rod.
Oh
Bumper
no! Cave. So Cape required, and Cape is what, destined to be on Laser Bridge now, right?
Don't put that curse on us.
It's there. I just gave it life. We already were all thinking it.
We knew it in our hearts, but we dared not voice it. So he sees it's Bombos and checks the Mire Ledge. I would check to see if Desert was boost locked before I went into Mire.
I would too, because if the bow's there, then great.
Yeah, there's the bow on the Graveyard Ledge.
And Plasma's not happy there.
Or he is happy, and he's just expressing it by emitting Sword Beam. But yeah, it's without boots. You normally would want to put off that check until later, but thankfully Plasma didn't. He didn't even go into Swamp. He just went for the Graveyard play.
Well, and yeah, a lot of people want to hold that until you have the boots. So again, it's a one-off location that's out of the way. So GG PlasmaKappa making a solid play. That's Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness. You can knock out 2 crystals real quick.
That would bring him to 5, and he knows where the Ice Rod is. So he just needs to find Quake to knock out Turtle Rock as well. And maybe boots for Desert, and he's good to go. So he's really close to, getting everything he needs to finish this game.
So we're a Cape and a Quake away, and possibly boots.
Yes. I guess, in that sense, that Truzzl not finding the flute did come back to bite him, just not as bad as it could have, but it's probably going to be a long time until it goes to check that Graveyard Cliff Cave with all the stuff that he's checking. He can check now. He's yet to do Blacksmith. He's yet to do a lot of other stuff.
And I feel like Truzzl hasn't necessarily had bad routing, but just 1 or 2 decisions have really changed the course of this game. Truzzl does not know where the Ice Rod is, and there's, vanilla Tempered Sword for Plasma. Truzzl doesn't have that. That would be Gold Sword, but Gold versus Tempered isn't such a big deal, so Plasma saves a lot of time on the final sword there, and then going to be doing Gary's Lunchbox, checking K45 on his way down as well.
There's a lot of he's also going to be checking the shovel location as well while he does it. There's a lot of checks that Plasma's knocking out of the way while he does this, and he's honestly just getting the Tempered is going to be a big benefit for him. So the seed is being very nice to Plasma so far, and the decisions he's made. Nothing against Truzzl and his decisions, but it's just the way Rando's been.
Oh yeah, that's just Rando sometimes. And good decisions, bad decisions. You can say that Plasma maybe has made some quote unquote riskier gambles. Dipping Skullwoods early when it's a pendant, but finding the flute there, checking the one-off locations in Desert Ledge or on Graveyard Ledge without anything really there. You can't do Kingston, you can't do Bonk Rocks, which are nearby. Happens to route in the Bumper Ledge check, finds Ice Rod on Bumper Ledge, and immediately finds Bow. that's an amazing little routing find right there on its own when there are more dense areas he could be checking. So, GG PlasmaKappa making the gambles when you're facing an elimination match. It's just a good play there.
All right, so Plasma found that Gary has nothing but arrows for lunch, I believe, and it just goes to finish off these 2 crystals, and I guess hopes that he finds Quake and or Cape. Truzzl making his way to finish his 3rd crystal, and gonna find that not much is there, sadly.
I believe Truzzl already found the 2nd item, so he knows this is just a crystal. He will have Pyramid Fairy, which Plasma's already checked, and it's nothing, which is unfortunate. And no new Misery Myers tech. I'm a little bit disappointed. When that first got announced on Monday, I was really looking forward to the new Misery Meyer tech being showed off all week.
Yeah, he may only know like the Pegasus Boots version of it. That's the only one I kind of know, and I've never practiced it. And I think the one where you don't need the Pegasus Boots, you have to have fluted from Ether Tablet. Was that right?
I believe so. I mean, it's super weird.
Really kind of niche, but
I mean, because this game is coded so incredibly well.
oh, he gets a couple hits on the big eye while he does his spinning.
Truzzl's got to be careful here. We'll have a much faster Vitreous fight because of Tempered Sword on its own. Just we'll have to be really careful. One more hit. Well, 2 more hits.
And there we go. And what is? Oh, he finds the cape in Bowlock's side. So that's Ice Rod. That's Turtle Rock. And now, well, it's not Turtle Rock. It's Ice Rod, but still need the Quake. But we're getting closer and closer to the go mode.
Well, and I think in Plasma's case, you absolutely, I mean, you wanted to find the cape before Quake, because if you found Quake, then the cape could be anywhere in Turtle Rock. So that was a blessing to find that beforehand. Otherwise, you could be looking at that horrible double dip situation I outlined earlier.
It's actually kind of nice where the seed has been relatively kind to Plasma. Just the way he's found things have led themselves to be very efficient. Just kind of like lining themselves up. Or I found shovel, and it brings me to also do the shovel check while I'm bringing down Gary's lunchbox. I checked South of Grove K45. He found with his flutes. He went up, and then he found the Titan's Visit. They said, "Oh, I can just knock out East Side Death Mountain, while I'm here." And Truzzl is making the Desert Ledge check. It's just a piece of heart. But is he going to make the desert check? And he will. Good man.
Yeah, I mean, this is a check. I'm really kind of amazed Plasma did not end up checking. It's real quick to know if you're going to be boots locked. And with the equipment loadout you have, it should be pretty quick.
Oh yeah, definitely. Mirror makes traversing desert, just not a lot of time whatsoever. And you can get like an item or 2 out of it depending on how everything is. But in about the next 3 to 5 minutes, I'd say Plasma's going to have his the book on the book on the torch, which is a kick in the butt. Normally in vanilla you need the book to get in this place, so it's just kind of taunting you. Hey, you wouldn't be able to get in here anyway.
Okay, so Truzzl finding the small key, gonna be making the trek over here. Yeah, I mean, I would be really interested to find Quake over here. If it's not, I mean, the pedestal hype index is sitting at Quake. Maybe. I hope. Yeah, we still have all of Ice Palace to check too.
Yeah, But he can also knock out Desert Palace as the crystal while he's here, and you might as well. Okay, it's just a 300 rupees for the second item, so he's just gonna go ahead and knock it out. And who knows, maybe Quake's on one of the ether on one of the tablets.
Boots on pedestal to get the book for Quake to be on the oh, that's horrible. The problem is you can't check pedestal to know what's there.
Oh gosh.
So Uncle proved to be a prophet. This seat is the worst.
It's no Plando, but at the same time, it's no Plando.
I mean, when it's a Plando, you just expect to be trolled. So you just like plan on 100% clearing it.
Yeah, you just like, okay, I'm gonna go for the really weird locations. It's got to be there, and then you find it. But here, it's a weird combination of everything. Mostly overworld location, but with some dungeon locations. But so the longer Truzzl does not check that bow, it's just more time Plasma has. He's going to be 5 crystals to Truzzl's 3. But half magic must be nice for this fight.
Oh, it is. And let's keep in mind, there is also one more treasure chest here in Eastern. We had to do an early dip in order to find the flippers, which were required somehow still.
Oh yeah, Almost definitely could have something here. So we'll just have to see. And I mean, Silvero should make short work of this boss anyway. So. And what is it? It is a single arrow. Hey, thanks for spending 6. Here's 1 back.
I mean, better than, what is it, 6 times 3, so 18. And then spending 18 and getting 1 back.
That's true. So yeah, now it's only 5-4 now that Truzzl did Desert. Thanks for someone pointing that out. Plasma, you got a free crystal over there. And he goes to make the check.
I mean, that's good. I'm still curious what is on that magic bat, because we haven't done that yet. Powder is in Lumberjack Ledge, but we have the items necessary to do fake powder glitch. I'm pretty sure both these guys know it.
We also have half magic, so it's going to be annoying to get all that magic out of the way. Well, then again, with Cape, it should be relatively easy to nuke all of his magic. So Truzzl will go and find that the Fat Fairy has nothing. So what does he do from here? Like, I want to say he's done a lot of checks already.
He has done quite a few. So it'll be, at this point, it's just a matter of time before he does his check on Desert Ledge and the of course, Bumper Ledge, which will be good news.
They actually have both on the Desert Ledge check by this time, just a piece of heart.
Not Desert Ledge, Graveyard Ledge, I'm sorry.
Oh, I see. But he can do Ice Palace, he can do all of Skull Woods, so is he just gonna knock out Skull Woods and Ice Palace and hope that it's a pendant dungeon? Or hope that's a pedestal seat? I don't know, that's a bit too gambling for my tastes here.
Yeah, I think if you do that, you start with Ice Palace, and, well, if you're Plasma, you start with Ice Palace, you find Quake, you nope out. Truzzl still has some work to do. He's got Jeremiah, he's got the purple chest, so he's going to be taking the south route. He'll find his butter sword. Yay.
Yay. Yeah, that'd be the smart play to do. Unfortunately, not the right play to do, but it is the smart play to do.
And I think that's one of the most difficult things about Randomizer, especially when you're sitting in the commentary seat or in chat. The smart play isn't always the right play, and we know it, which is horrible.
It's really kind of depressing. You know, yeah, we wish the best for these runners, and it can hurt to be like, oh, it's right there.
It's like, just go north instead of going south. You'll be much happier.
Sure, it's one item compared to like 8, but it's the one item you want.
You compare it a little bit to like your best friend dating someone that you absolutely hate, but you're like, he's happy doing that.
It's like, yeah, I really detest them as people, or rather detest him or her as a person, but they're happy.
They're doing what's best for them.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, and I won't hang around you guys tonight. See you guys. Bye. Something like that. Okay, yeah. Nice arrow work on Lamella. Sadly missing the last one, but getting most of those in that first cycle by Plasma. Landing arrows on Lamella can be a huge pain in the butt. Gary sharing his arrow lunch.
So at this point, Plasma, I think Plasma might actually dip Swamp here directly. We know it's not going to end well for Plasma, and that's just kind of a huge time sink, unless it's a pedestal seed.
Well, if you think about it, he already had progression with Mirror, so it's like he doesn't. Swamp may not have anything just because, you know, as a progression item, Mirror already gave him something. So does he do it?
He's making the magic bat play.
Is he?
He's making magic bat.
Oh.
This could be big. I mean, should probably drain all of his magic like now, but
just keep pressing the button.
Oh, and Truzzle's actually checking the back of Skull Woods now to see what's in this chest that they've both avoided inexplicably forever.
A compass. Plasma, what is it? What's in the box?
Please be Quake. Please be Quake. Please be Quake.
No. Okay. Some of our dreams have been crushed. I think the pedestal dreams are still alive, though. To me, it feels like Ice Palace is becoming more of a possibility here.
Absolutely. And Truzzle, I think, is full tilt going right in. He doesn't necessarily have to do Mothula right now. He knows it's a pendant. He knows the other 2 treasure chests are done. He's just going to go ahead and do it, and then I imagine he's going to go right to Ice Palace.
Yeah, I mean, he's still looking for that one last item in Skullwoods, so Mothula might have it. And really, with Butter Sword, with rather tempered sword slashes, Mothula's not going to be that hard. And it's just there hasn't been anything so far, so I can't blame him.
That was the friendliest Mothula I think I've seen in a long time. Gets the worthless big key and the worthless pendant, as far as we know right now. Plasma is dipping Ice Palace. We know, I mean, Plasma is a Quake away from Go mode, and he knows he's a Quake away from Go mode. Oh, Go-ish mode.
It's actually interesting to me that he goes Ice Palace over Swamp Palace. You know, because Swamp has a lot more opportunities, a lot more available chests, but he decides to go for Ice Palace instead. Maybe it's one of those gut instincts there.
Well, I mean, it might be your kind of. Oh, wait, what?
Yeah. There's Quake.
Wait. Yeah, there it is. Oh my God.
All right. So that is definitely something Truzzl has over Plasma. It just Truzzl needs to find the bow. He doesn't even know where Ice Rod is. He doesn't know. He doesn't have a bow. So, but once he finds bow, he's gonna find Cape, and Ice Rod should not be far off whatsoever.
I mean, he is literally right here. If he just kind of walks to the north and does those checks now, he will be in go mode first. Now he will be Eastern and Pod behind, but Plasma's, neck deep in Ice Palace. Truzzl go moding those. Well, he won't be able to go mode entirely because the cape is actually in some other location. And oh no, Truzzl.
Yeah, he's gonna see what's in Lumberjack. No, he's finally here with a mirror. He doesn't have boots, but he was like, oh, might as well see if maybe this has something required.
He's like, am I seeing that right? Oh no.
Alright. Truzzl. Make the play. Go for the graveyard ledge.
It's literally right there. You'll be able to do Pod and Eastern, find the cape, be in go mode. You'll be much happier with yourself, I promise.
Plasma, unfortunately, was having a little bit of difficulty with the Ice Palace bomb jump, but he finally makes it. And who knows, maybe he'll find something nice over here like Pegasus boots. Then again, he finds Pegasus boots, that's going to lay him on a little bit of a wild goose chase.
Well, and that is something worth discussing, that there is a 4.5% chance that, or 4 point something percent chance, whatever it is, that the big key in in Ganon's Tower is on that torch, which would put boots as required again. So we're in go-ish mode? Like, we don't know yet.
Boots on pedestal. Ganon Tower big key on torch.
I've played that Plando.
It's almost go mode for Truzzl. He just needs to find the cape, and then he is definitely in go mode.
Yeah, and for our newer viewers, I just want to clarify, go mode is, you see Truzzl and Plasma kind of checking the overworld, checking all the locations, checking every treasure chest, I'm not going to say taking their time, they're going fast, but not really doing the NMG strats in terms of just plowing through everything as quickly as possible. Go mode occurs when you have every item you require to complete the game. Climb Ganon's Tower, defeat Aghanim, kill Ganon. There is a marked difference in your performance and your behavior as a runner between when you're still hunting for items and when you're in go mode and can just blast everything.
Yeah, before you get in go mode, it's a combination of decision making, where do I go next, and execution, how well do you execute your route, where you go next. But when you go into go mode, it's just pure execution. Just you know exactly where you need to go, nothing changes, and you just blitz through all of it. And Truzzl is very quickly on his way towards finding the last item he needs for go mode. So it's going to be pretty exciting, especially seeing how he decides to go through Turtle Rock, because it's like go mode Turtle Rock is not that much different than regular mode Turtle Rock. Just maybe a couple different chests you don't check, like the one in the middle of the snake. Man, what do you call that room? I'd never know what you call it.
Which
one? With the little lava room.
I'd probably just call it the lava room.
Probably just call it the lava room. You have games in Mario, buddy.
Oh, Truzzl, man, just.
This is the very first time he picked up. Oh, it works just fine. So Truzzl has basically everything he knows he needs to enter Ganon's Tower, whereas PlasmaKappa is. Okay, so PlasmaKappa finishes Ice Palace. I kind of feel like the next thing he's going to do is check Swamp Palace. But we know that the correct move is to go for, of course, the back of Skull Woods. Do you think he's going to go for Swamp Palace? Do you think he's going to finally go for Skull Woods?
I mean, here's the deal. The smart play is Swamp Palace, because you have the 6 items normally in Swamp Palace plus the green pendant turn in. If you're banking on it possibly being a pedestal seed, you go ahead and do the high density locations, and then you can get the last one that's right there. You already picked up 1 item. It's like, yeah, that's 1 item location up there versus 7 in Swamp Palace between the combined. We know it's 1 over the 7. But the smart play would absolutely be go ahead, go to Swamp Palace.
Yeah, it's going to be unfortunate for Plasma when he finally goes through Swamp Palace and finds that nothing's there. But Truzzle's going to do his part and do his best on Halmasar, whacking away his helmety face.
It's interesting to point out that both items in Skull Woods trolled these runners. The Flute trolled Truzzle for the longest period of time, and the Quake is kind of pulling Plasma and forcing him into dips that he doesn't want to make either.
Would you rather call it the lava room or the vanilla TR big key chest?
Yeah, we'll do that one. The vanilla big key chest in Turtle Rock.
That's such a mouthful, though. Such a mouthful.
I mean, we could call it the chest that everyone skips if it's Key Sanity, because that's also true.
That's definitely true. All right,
Plasma is actually the 1 over 7 check. This is good news for Plasma, although Truzzle's not that far behind now.
Yeah, goodness. It's okay. So in terms of crystals, Truzzle's at 5 out of 7, working on his 6th, and Plasma is at 6 out of 7. And honestly, they're gonna arrive at Turtle Rock relatively closely around the same period of time, I think.
Well,
maybe Plasma a little earlier.
Yeah, Plasma is actually checking this treasure chest first, which is going to put Plasma up on Turtle Rock a little bit faster. But man, Truzzle's going to be right there, so it's going to be just an execution race. It'll be within a couple minutes of one another.
Plasma's got to be happy about that. And Plasma still has to get the ice rod. That's correct. Actually, both of them still have to get the ice rod. But yeah, Turtle Rock is near in their future.
And Plasma's got to still go get the ice rod, of course.
Yeah, Plasma's had that cape for a little bit now and just hadn't picked up the ice rod just yet.
So we'll be able to get like a real delineation of time because they're both in go mode right now. The timestamp on PlasmaKappa when they pick up the ice rod, and the timestamp on Truzzl when they pick up the ice rod.
I'll try and keep a note of it. So Truzzle's going straight there. He knows what he needs. So maybe like 3 or 4 screens ahead. Maybe even more.
I mean, it's close no matter what. You really wish someone had the boots right now. Like, this is the worst seed ever when you don't have the boots.
It's going to be bootless until boots. And okay, that's 139.08. Truzzle's going to be, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 seconds behind. Nice, he didn't even have to kill the bird.
Man, I will kill murder dactyls all day when capable. I hate those things.
Oh, dead rock block.
That's, with the game as close as this is, that's not good for Plasma.
Oh yeah, that used up the precious seconds that he has in the lead. Whether or not he realized it, like every second counts.
So 53 versus 08, so it's something like a 45-second difference between the
45.
two.
Yep. Yeah, that dead rock block was, I think, like a 10-second loss. I'm just ballparking at this point. You know what I really miss not having boots? I miss having spin speed. And I think about that every time I come up to Death Mountain without boots. Plasma just tanking the hits on those two dead rocks up there, not wanting to get blocked again. I do not blame him.
Oh, absolutely not. And I think at this point, if you're either of these runners, I mean, if you're Truzzl, you're like, I did all of Swamp Palace and all I got for it was this gold sword. And if you're Plasma, you're like, I did all of Ice Palace and I got literally nothing for it. So they've both done kind of some, a pendant check that didn't pay off. In an elimination match, they're both thinking they're horribly behind right now.
Oh yeah, it is not a pleasant situation to find yourself in. You have that just sinking feeling that you're behind. You need to just execute, and seconds matter. And they are in go mode, so yeah, execution definitely matters. In terms of like butter between tempered actually helping him, I'm not sure if there's anything that actually would help him in Turtle Rock. Even the pokies, tempered sword spin will kill them on the two hits. Just the butter sword, all you have to do is just slash twice. Not really much of a time save there.
Only 28 seconds difference from their entrance into Turtle Rock, so Truzzl made it up a little bit of time from those dead rocks. It is worth noting that buttered is a little bit nicer for Trinex because you can one cycle the heads as opposed to two cycling them.
Oh, absolutely. That is something I did not consider. So yeah, Truzzl's going to gain some seconds there, and then it's just going to be a race, a bootless race in Gan's Tower. Hoping that 4.5% probability does not come into play.
Oh man, what if it does? What if it does?
At that point, it's just, okay, where could the boots possibly be? Because they've checked all the pendant dungeons. Between all of them, they've checked all the pendant dungeons. And I don't think there's any place they would have checked that we haven't seen except for Pedestal.
Except for Pedestal, which is amazing, and it makes my heart sing.
I think you're supposed to be nice to the runners and not wish horrible things on them.
Nah, I'm jaded. Ever since I got Burno Landmo, I'm done being nice.
Burno Landmo? Holy cow.
Yeah, Burno bombs Landmo for progression, nothing else.
Oh no. Okay, yeah, you have an excuse. You can be jaded. I'll have to be the voice of optimism here.
I'm fine being that guy, I think. Here's the worst part, is that if there is something there, what Truzzl has got to be worried about, he did do that Lumberjack cave check. He now knows the powder, and he didn't fake powder. Plasma did. We know it's nothing. But if it is a boots situation, that might be playing to Truzzl's head too. It's like, oh, is it?
Yeah, but at the same time, oh man, it'd just be such a long chain of fetch quests that, like, so many spheres that you'd have to get into that I don't think the randomizer even does that many spheres. So I would not. If I was Truzzl, I'd be like, no, it couldn't be. Just put it out of your head because you can't do anything about it anyway. I'd rather pull Pedestal than do Aghanim 1 at that point.
Well, I mean, if you're Truzzl, you have to do all of Ice Palace. If you're Plasma, you have to do all the Swamp Palace. So neither of the great options. Although Plasma would have to go ahead and kill Mothula as well if we're looking pedestal.
Yeah, but thankfully Mothula's right there, so it's not gonna be that big of a challenge for him. Not that big of a time sink.
Oh, and Plasma skipped the big treasure, the vanilla big key chest, and that is where the big key is. All advantage gone for Plasma.
Yeah, I never skip that chest anymore unless I've already gotten the big key, because it always comes back to bite you. So yeah, Truzzl will make up a lot of time with that. He's gonna enter the dark room a lot earlier than Plasma. So yeah, it's just, you know, Turtle Rock and doing Turtle Rock. It's always kind of nice when Turtle Rock's the last dungeon before Ganon's Tower, because you're just right there.
Yeah, I mean it means we'll be starting things up for a certain game that we like to play a little bit sooner than we might normally do it, just for everyone's purposes.
For everyone's purposes, or everyone's porpoises?
Actually, there are no dolphins in this game.
Did they do a Mimic Cave? No, they didn't do a Mimic Cave. Wouldn't that be a place for the boots to be?
Oh God, yeah. Do you gamble that?
Oh, man, I don't know. Like, these are all hard questions, all hard choices. Oh man, it must be so nice having Kata Burn and half magic. You don't care. Just walk into that beetle. I'm invincible.
That is satisfying to just say, hey beetle, I don't care about you.
I'm just gonna slow walk into you because I don't have boots, and that kind of makes me sad. But I have half magic.
All right, so Truzzl is about to enter, and he's going to have a very, very fast Trinex fight.
Yeah, at this point, he has quite the advantage, and it's like it might come down to right versus left.
Well, and as we've seen several times, you know, a lot of times this seed forces you to go to the left because there's no keys in there to start out with.
Unless you're a super cool guy and get that early key from the left and then go full right. That guaranteed key from the left.
Do the Dark Magician strat, yeah.
All
right. So, ladies and gentlemen in chat, Truzzl does have his 7th crystal. He will be making a quick jaunt over there to Ganon's Tower. So there's a little game we like to play. There are 22 treasure chests in Ganon's Tower that can possibly contain the Ganon's Tower Big Key. If you are a subscriber to any of the Speed Gaming Network channels or have donated at least 250 bits across the channels, you will be registered for our leaderboard if you guess it correctly. So 1 through 22, get your guesses in. My good friend, Mr. Teef, what's your guess?
Oh, I don't guess to win. I guess to enjoy myself, and I'm going to guess on the torch.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I kind of want it to be on the torch just for the troll factor.
Just to see what the hell they do. Just to see what they do. I would not know what they do. What would they do? What would you do?
Well, you go ahead and start with full clearing Ganon's Tower, because it could be here. And pray. Plasma does go ahead and enter, and because Truzzl was the first one entered, even if Plasma goes to the left side first, we'll be following the chests in the order that Truzzl opens them.
Alright, so do you think he's going to go all the way to Ice Armor, so he's just going to go check the first 4 that 4-room chest and then go full left.
I think you don't do ice armors. There's too large of a time that you're not checking and opening treasure chests there.
Especially without boots, I agree. It makes a lot of sense. But hey, maybe it is the right play to go straight for ice armors.
You never know. So 3 is just a shield, 4 is big 20, 5 is big 20, and 6 is big 20.
The big 20.
Meanwhile, PlasmaKappa is entering.
With the time advantage that Truzzl has, he's already entering the left after doing his right check. And nothing on the torch. There goes my hopes and dreams.
Oh, it is a full bootless seed. Ah.
And I was hoping they'd be hovering across Moldorm too, but it's not to be. Oh, nice mirror shield for him. Oh, there it is.
That is, let me see, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is treasure chest number 9.
999. There you go. You
And
have won a few days tonight.
Plasma isn't doing the right side, so we'll catch up there.
Keeping it close, and you're checking the left side chest first too, so he's gonna be right behind Truzzl.
So shout out to Blue Kano, was the first subscriber or supporter to guess number 9. So GG Blue Kano. So it is absolutely, I mean, we're talking just less than a minute difference. It's all about how clean your Ganon fight is going to be, how clean your execution for the rest of this gauntlet is. You know, Truzzl's, I think so far has demonstrated a little bit cleaner execution throughout this race. Plasma has tanked quite a bit of damage. Red Mail hasn't really hurt him, but could knock him around and lose some time here. It'll be really close as they go through there.
True, and Truzzl also has the advantage of butter, so I think is it possible to, one phase again on all of them with tempered?
It's possible, but it's so difficult that even the top runners have difficulty with it. I think it requires kind of a perfect storm setup for it to happen.
That's true. Yeah, it requires Ganon going into like the top right corner and you sitting inside his spinning spear. So now that you mentioned that, I do remember that. But so Truzzl is going to have that advantage with requiring less cycles of Ganon to chew through. And Truzzle's making his way already to Land Mollusk 2.
Does not get the 0 cycle. Kind of gets trolled by that fireball there. It's doing its job.
Yep. That's one of the most annoying parts of Land Mollusk 2 is just that constant fireball. Now, if they had the dust at this time, they could be getting so much fairies back. Actually, I'm not sure if either of them are aware of what the stun prize is, except maybe Truzzl.
I think Truzzl knows, yeah. Oh, and does not quite get that 0 cycle there. Man, he's having a hard time with these Wizrobes. Can be a little bit difficult if you don't get the setup immediately, then you're kind of off from that point on.
It's actually so rare to see bootless that I'm not even sure what you're supposed to do in that room that Truzzl just passed, the one with the 4 pitchfork guys. So it's kind of interesting to see, just he casually walks through and it's like, okay, we'll kind of walk past him. Hope they don't notice me. No, Plasma gets 3 out of 4, and he's just gonna... No, he gets blocked by the spikes. Okay,
that's so horrible. But Truzzl working his way through, and Plasma keep strats through.
So Plasma actually took about the same amount of time that Truzzl did with that from the getting blocked by the spikes, so not a lot of time difference lost or gained there between the both of them.
Truzzl vengeance on Moldorm 2, and did not switch, so I had to menu after the explosions. Couldn't quite set it up. Plasma is not that far behind. I mean, this is less than a minute here.
Oh, this is a scary room without boots.
Oh my
He
god!
just walked through.
Whoa, that was impressive, actually.
Yeah, very nice. I probably would have equipped the cape at that point, but he bravely walks through. That brave Truzzl.
Let's see how friendly Aghanim is going to be to us. He can desync himself very easily depending on his setup, and the first blue ball kind of sets it up, but he does get at least one hit on that second cycle.
He's at 4 hits now, and there's only an arrow in the Moldorm 2 chest.
It's the one arrow that you kill Ganon with.
There's arrow upgrade.
Oh, arrow upgrade. Okay.
Okay, Kappa gets through relatively quickly as well. Doesn't get trolled by the heart heads. I can't remember what they're called.
The mini Helmosaurs.
Yes. I'm just not remembering names very well at all. Plasma getting a 2 on his first one.
All right, doing very nicely here. And meanwhile, Truzzl is going to start his blue bacon fight.
And I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
What does that make us?
Absolutely nothing.
Which is what you're about to become. Yeah, I was about to try to attempt Darth Helmet's voice.
I mean, Rick Moranis is just a hilarious guy anyway. And Truzzl already on phase 3.
Very nice, very quick. Truzzl's making short work. Well, yeah, he did find the arrows in Death Mountain. It really wasn't hidden very well at all. Just kind of out in the middle of everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, just right there.
Raise that 2, 3, 4, and that is it for Truzzl. Fanfare is going off, and Plasma is on phase 1. I thought it was on phase 2. We spin his trident. Yeah, that butter making short work of him. And Truzzl is your winner with a. Actually, I don't even know the time. Shoot.
It looks like the official Speed Racing TV time is going to be 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 52 seconds. GG Truzzl.
Thank you, GG Truzzl. Truzzl gets to be 4-2 and gets to make his way on towards the next rounds rather, and good chance of making it to the bracket. Plasma goes 3-3, and well, there's still a chance, but it's going to be a lot harder for Plasma to make it in at this rate. So either way, good game for both of them, and it was a really close match for both of them actually.
Oh man,
so, yeah. How was it, Truzzl?
I felt behind almost the entire time.
Would you believe it if I told you that's basically how he felt as well?
I would, yeah, definitely.
So and Plasma literally just finished up, by the way. So
yeah, I saw that. Very close.
So I'll walk you guys kind of through all of this here directly. Don't want to have to repeat myself for chat, but absolutely, there were 2 very different outcomes here, and GG to PlasmaKappa.
Thanks, TR Big Key.
Yeah, TR Big Key.
Yeah, TR Big Key.
So that was yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let me walk you guys through here. So Plasma, I mean, right when you guys got Dark World access, up until that point, you guys were kind of neck and neck, bouncing back and forth. Truzzl might have had a minute lead at that point in time, nothing big. Plasma goes up to do Skullwoods first. Finds the flute. Truzzl, you end up sequence breaking, going up Death Mountain. I mean, that was the logical sequence of events because Plasma found the flute, went up Death Mountain, and kind of went through there. But then you were kind of looking around for some areas. You ended up full clearing Swamp Palace, didn't really know where to go. Then you found the flute, but by then you were a little bit behind. Flip the script here. Plasma is looking for Quake. You end up going ahead and going into Skullwoods, finding that early, and so Skullwoods kind of trolled both of you for your items that you were looking for at various points in the game.
It was really kind of interesting how it all played out. A lot of decisions that is like, oh well, man, if he doesn't check their back soon, it's gonna be really nasty. I believe both of you made like almost identical decisions in the very early. Both of you, Kakariko, nothing in Kakariko. South Shore, basically nothing in South Shore except for Moon Pearl, and Ice Rod Cave, and then Fake Flippering. Truzzl, I believe you actually got the Power Gloves off of the Hobo first, and then basically went up, saw, oh, there's a hammer here, shoot. It took Plasma a while to find the gloves were on Hobo, but I mean, once he found Flippers, like, well, might as well, check the only place I haven't checked with these Flippers. So it was the whole scene was basically like that, where it was just kind of back and forth. Man, who's gonna find this next piece next? Because it was basically anyone's game at that point. Any thoughts on the scene so far, you guys?
Well, I knew that I had to at least be somewhat behind when I went up on Death Mountain and I saw both the fire sources were there, because then I figured I had to find, that meant flute was somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Early.
So Uncle said this is the worst seed. Do you agree with Uncle?
It's up there for sure.
It's fine.
Well, and painting the picture, you both hit your go mode right around the same time. I think Plasma, you had about a 45-second head start from the time you entered Turtle Rock or started your ascent up Death Mountain. It was less than a minute, and then that vanilla big key in Turtle Rock, man.
So
Yeah.
I want to ask both of you, how in the back of your head, how likely was it that, hey, this might this might be a pedestal seed? Like, was that in the back of your head, or was it kind of a thing of, no, there's no way it could be that?
Right when I went into Skullwoods, I started thinking, I could do ice. This could be a pedestal seed. Once I got Quake out of there and I saw that Ice Rod was up on Bumper Cave, I figured there were decent odds that I might find Cape somewhere else, because that was pretty much all I needed.
I thought it was probably if Skullwoods had nothing. I wasn't even thinking about going into Swamp at all.
It was just something like you completely forgot about Swamp at that point?
No. It's due to... No, it's how I route. I route in spheres.
Okay, so
And,
because Swamp was kind of relatively early,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, but the mirror paid out with the bow, the hook shot paid out with the lamp, and the flippers paid out with the hammer. That's all three of Swamp's items. Nothing left in Swamp.
It's fair enough. All right. Hey, Truzzl, when you finally noticed that dust was on Lumberjack, and you had already turned in Mushroom, did that kind of throw you for a bit?
I didn't really think too much about it at the time. I was mostly just like, you gotta be kidding me. The dust was up here.
Yeah, and we're both kind of thinking, okay, what if does have progression? What if this is something in Magic bad? And we're like, while this would be entertaining to watch, at the same time, I would not want to be in their shoes if that happens. So, well, I want to say it was entertaining to watch. It was fun to commentate. Do you guys have anything you want to say before we head on out, or anything you want to shout out?
I guess just thanks for the commentating, thanks to the trackers, and thanks for everyone to putting this together. It was a lot of fun.
All right,
Should
thanks,
auto
Truzzl.
pilotless.
Okay, but it's hey, you guys both played good, and glad to have you with us. So, hey, Vitasia, you have anything you want to add on?
No, it was an amazing race to watch from this perspective. You know, you were both ahead at various points in time, so it was just such a fun race to watch. I'm glad I got to be a part of it, guys.
Thanks for having you guys with us. So, this is both Truzzl and PlasmaKappa. If you guys watch them on Twitch sometime. If you like them, give them a follow. I think they're both swell, upstanding guys. So, hey, I'd give them a follow if it were me. So, say thanks to co-commentator of Vitasia. Thanks to the trackers. Man, thanks to Vash 1978. Thanks to the restreamer. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to the chat. Hey, you're nice. We have a call for an encore, by the way. You guys up for it?
Oh God.
Cool.
That sounds like a hearty no. All right. Thanks for Speed Gaming for hosting this, and hey, the tournament organizers for running this huge tournament so far. 512 people is no joke. But that's all from me. I had a fun time. I hope you guys had a fun time too. Vitasia, want anything to add on to that?
No, just an amazing time, and I hope to see you guys at the next race.
All right. Everyone take care and have a good night.